Welcome back to another episode of the FPL Sheeple podcast. We are a podcast that brings you curated content from top FPL managers. Each week, we do an in depth review of an FPL manager's content, be it their podcast or YouTube video or a blog or even a Twitter thread. We go through their suggestions and make informed changes in our own FPL teams. I'm your host, Carling FIFA, and we come to you after a turbulent Game Week 5 with quite a few missing players, leading to a test of bench depth for many managers. But yet, the Sheeples seem to have come through with flying colors. I'm joined by my co host FPL Donatello, who can tell us more about this banger of a week. Over to you, Donatello.
Hello there, my friend. Yes, I had a really great game week. I rose by like 300k in overall rank. So I think even though some of the players who were on the actual team did not play, sort of benefited. I mean, did not have any bad effects on my team because the template, as we're going to discuss, prevailed, I guess, again. So yeah, and a really great game week, and I guess it's for you too, right?
Yeah, for me as well. I mean, even though, as you said, there were these benchings, I think overall, I mean, this is like a spoiler alert, but I got a decent score and still a green arrow, which is all you want,
Yeah.
especially after such a turbulent game week. So yeah, so all good, and yeah, as we tweeted out after the end of the game week, that we are really flying high and I think doing much better than we expected at this stage of the season. So yeah,
Yeah, and I
looking
guess your rank is really amazing.
yeah,
So yeah, we're gonna discuss that
yeah. We'll talk.
already, and
We'll
it's
talk about
really
that.
amazing to see your rank there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So then let's get into this week's agenda.
Sure. The agenda is as you the team for Game Week 5, and we're going to discuss which players were new additions to the template team. Then we are going to review the create team comparison, in which we're going to see all the 20 teams of the 20 content creators, and we're going to see what how many points each content creators got, and then we're going to do some analysis of or like discuss some takeaways from the spreadsheet that we offer. Next would be Game Week 6 Creator of the Week, which we will find out from the creator team comparison. The content creator with the maximum amount of points for Game Week 5 will be our content creator of the week. And finally, we will discuss what suggestions or picks the creator of the week has suggested for Game Week 6, and then what changes both Carling and I have made in our team.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, we will do a preview of Game Week 6, all the matches, and what score lines both of us feel might be possible over the next game week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the agenda. And again, a reminder. As always, we want more players to join our mini league, which is called as FPL Sheeple League. The code to join is YVVW2K. So the link will be there, and the code will be there in the description. So feel free to join. All your points are counted. So please join and be part of the Sheeple mini league.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, so then why don't we just jump into the game week 5 template team and review?
Sure.
Uh, so every week after the deadline, we put out a tweet where we put up like a template team from 20 different content creators. So this is like a team with a valid formation. So team of 11 players with a valid formation that has been taken from the locked teams of 20 popular FPL content creators, and then we just put it out just to get a feel for what are the popular picks for this week and which are the quote unquote good players according to this hive mind from these great content creators. So we also put out the number of teams in which each of these players are present. So for example, Sanchez in goal was present in 18 out of 20 teams, and then we had Luke Shaw, who was also in 18 out of 20 teams. Salah, who coincidentally was in all 20 teams and also the captain of all the 20 content creators. I think in all our
That's the first.
15, yeah, in our 15 episodes, we've never seen such a consensus when it comes to captain. So that's really, really uncanny that that happened. And yeah, and then we also have a few players who are sort of 50-50 decisions, we would say. It's like the players who are in not the majority of the teams, but they are the popular amongst players in those positions. So, for example, Luke Ayling and Semedo are in 9 and 7 teams respectively, and so there is like a bunch of like a pool of defenders who are replaced in different teams instead of these players, and so yeah, we have some of those 50-50 players as well. So yeah, so it looks like now sort of the trend is that we are seeing more of these 50-50 players in teams every week because as we said at the beginning of the season, there was a template and now it's branching out and people are now starting to buy other players. There have been a few wild cards as well in game week 5, which is something we'll touch upon
Right.
later in the episode. So yeah, so all in all, it's looking very interesting. And now apart from this backbone of really strong picks that all of these teams have, I think now it's going to be really diverse. We are going to see new faces every week in this template team, I feel.
Yeah, right. And funnily, I just wanted to add this may be the template team for game week 5, but the players in our team were in the actual template teams a couple of game weeks ago, and they were
Yeah.
the ones who contributed to our points this game week. So
Yeah, that's true.
that's why I said the template prevails, kind of.
Yeah, that's
So,
true. That's true. And yeah, we'll take a look at our teams in the next minute or two, and then we'll know which those players are. And so also this one more thing that we have indicated here for people who are watching this on YouTube is that we have indicated which of these template players are in each of our teams. So we have a small little icon that says if it's in my team or if it's in Donatello's team, and looks like we are now also having less and less of these template players in our team. So we are not matching the template team of these content creators, but we seem to have like a small set that's different, like 5 or 6 players that are different from this template team. And so that's good. That's interesting. It's probably reflecting the fact that we are following this one single content creator each week, and that's why we have that one pick that's different from potentially the template. So I think that's something that's probably being reflected here.
yep.
So yeah, so then coming to our own game week. So starting with my team first, yeah, I got 69 points. It's a pretty good tally. The game week rank was around a million, which I feel is a perfect rank to always consistently rise. And I have lo and behold, I have entered the top 100K. This is a momentous occasion for Carling
Absolutely.
FIFA and his career. And yeah, I think the since we've started this pod, I think the first time that I've reached within 100K, and this is where I intend to stay for the rest of the season. And obviously, if all goes well, I hope that I get an even better rank, and I'll see to rise as much as possible throughout the season. But yeah, I'm really really happy about how it's going, and it's been very steady. So yeah, so 69 points for me, and as Donatello pointed out, there were these 2 players who were not part of the template, but they were there in the templates in the previous weeks who we stuck with, and they came through. So Ivan Tony with 12 points and Bendrama with 10 points were actually differential in this week, if you believe it or not, even though they were template a couple of weeks ago. And so yeah, they were, and Salah as the captain with 24 points. That's the majority of my points. That's like
Yeah.
like 46 points right there, and the rest of the 8 players contributed to what 23 points. So say all in all, it was good, and with the benchings and stuff, I think I couldn't have hoped for a better outcome. So yeah, so for me, it was all good.
Yeah,
Then moving on,
under
yeah,
100K is like it's a good achievement. So as you said, I think now the onus is to maintain or get better
yeah,
ranks from
yeah,
here
that's
onwards.
true.
Even though it's just game week 5, but
Yeah,
still, like you just have to build on this to like get a better
exactly,
rank.
exactly. So yeah, so going to your team, and you are on some sort of a rocket, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, I got really good points this game week. I got 75 points. It made up for the bad game week I had last weekend. My game week rank was under 500K, which is amazing. I feel, and I grew up in rank by almost 300K. So my now overall rank is 293K, which like earlier on was 598K. So that's like a jump of 300,000
Yeah,
ranks. So
yeah,
I'm really happy with that. I mean, again, it's just game week 5, but we just have to keep on playing, getting consistently above average points in order to grow overall ranks. And then uh, not like I think the same players in my team too, which you pointed out previously. The previously template players, Tony and Benrama, assisting in like our overall rank growth. And then I had like maybe Ben White was the only standout player, which I feel was a differential. He got
yeah.
like 7 points. That like stood out in my defense because Trent and Reece James did not feature, so both of them were auto sub, and then Bisuma and Supal came in who contributed like 3 points. So as I
Mm-hmm.
said, like even though the bench was tested this week, I didn't have any bad effects on the overall team ranks. It contributed to the overall ranks.
Yeah,
What I'm trying to say. So same thing, same team, pretty much similar to yours. 75 points. I guess Ben White was the only difference between me and
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
and
extremely happy with the haul.
yeah, and I mean the players that were on your bench eventually, that's a very good set of starting players. So you have Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, and Mikhail Antonio who were on your bench, and these are all like starting 11 players. So
Yeah, I
I
mean
feel you're,
Antonio and Trent are like the template players. They are not in
yeah,
the template team this week because Antonio
yeah,
was sent off and Trent did not feature. So that's why.
yeah,
Otherwise, like these are like 100% starters, so
yeah,
they would
exactly,
have been contributors to the overall points. But yeah,
yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's another thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning, that the template team for this week was is based on the players that started for all these content creators. So yeah, as you said, Antonio and Alexander Arnold are probably the template players that dropped down to the bench for most of these guys. So yeah, that's true. That's something we forgot to mention. So all right, so yeah, great game weeks all around, and then let's go on to take a look at how all our content creators did this week. Starting with the creator who did the best, and that was Abdul Rahman, or FPL Salah as he is known on Twitter. He got a total of 77 points, so not too far away from you, just a couple of points. In fact, I see that his and your team are almost identical, except for like
oh
I think
yeah,
yeah, it's almost identical except for like I think Louis Dunk and Diogo Jota, and that's the
yeah,
couple of points difference between you.
yep,
So yeah, you did hit almost like the high of the highs this week, and yeah, so did, and FPL Salah was the highest point scorer overall. So yeah, so then let's go on to the spreadsheet that we show every week. So yeah, so just a reminder for people who follow the podcast that this is a spreadsheet where we compare the game week teams from 20 different content creators, and we've put ourselves in the mix just for fun because this is probably the only place where we can be together with these elite managers. But at least just to give context to how we are also doing, as in the pick of players that we have and how we do compared to them. So just to put ourselves in that context, that's why we have ourselves here as well. And what we do is we collect first of all the game week points for all of us, and then we have their total points, their overall rank, if they've played any chips, who's their captain, and then the most important part is that we have the players that have been picked in each team, and these have been sorted by the frequency with which they appear in all the teams. So for example, Mo Salah, who was in all 20 teams, is the first player in this spreadsheet. And then as you move to the right of the spreadsheet, you get the players that were picked less frequently or by fewer managers, and then you can basically figure out what are the top or the most commonly picked players. And if you move to the right of the spreadsheet, you can take a look at which were the specific players that can be potentially differential. So for example, Ismail Assar was picked by just three of these 20 content creators, and he got 15 points, and that's instantly pushed all those content creators towards the top of the game week, right? So they are in the top 5 ranks in this particular spreadsheet. And so so
and
this
hence the name of our episode, Certified
yeah
Banger.
exactly, because the episode itself we feel is a certified banger. But so was Ismail Yassar and his service to people who had him in his team. So this is generally a spreadsheet that we share to everyone who's listening to the podcast, or watching us on YouTube. We always have the link to this spreadsheet, which is updated every week, in the description of the video or of the audio that you're listening to. And so you can go around, take a look, scroll around, and get an idea of what the popular picks are and what sort of the hive mind of all of these 20 content creators are. You can also take a look at their differential picks, and that also might give you some ideas of which differential picks to go for in general. Falling short of listening to 20 different podcasts or videos or watching so much content, we feel that this aggregated information could be useful for many of our listeners. And then shout out to FPL Balboa, who's been following us for the past few weeks, who's given us really very nice feedback on how we should make this content more palatable to a lot of people. And so we've taken their suggestions on board, and we will now from this week onwards also present the information in the spreadsheet in form of this sort of summarized pieces of either text or like pictures or like summary slides, where we can talk about more details that we found out to be interesting. So why don't we just go on to that? Right. So these were the main takeaways from the spreadsheet. So Donatello, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. So the first step takeaway, as we were discussing this previously in the template team slide, the template team has sort of prevailed this week. Many of the players did not feature because, like someone like Antonio, who was on a red card, Trent did not feature because he was sick. He was not even on the bench, so they were not they did not feature, and then they got substituted. So the template overall did not, like the complete template team that is usually there in all the previous 4 weeks did not feature. But we had some players like Benrahma and Ivan Toney, who used to be in the. I guess Benrahma is still in the template player, but like Ivan Toney specifically was like in probably all the teams from the start, but they were the ones who boosted everyone's scores. So and as you suggested, a lot of a lot of not lot, but like few of the content creators wildcarded. So because of which the template has now switched to something else. So we
Mm-hmm.
noticed new players such as Semedo, Ailing. Uh, Even I mean they were not like a replacement for it. They were actually picks made by content creators based on the game week and the matches between certain teams. So I think the point is whatever players we've gone from game week one, like the template that we followed from game week one, has helped us get 75 and 69 points. So
Yeah.
that's why we are saying the template has prevailed for us, even though we are not in the actual template team. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are many changes to it. But from game week one, the players that were there have now contributed to our like good game week points for game week 5. Yeah, anything to add to that, Carling? Or
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good point, and it sort of goes back to the point that we made in the first episode of this season, which was the season preview, where we looked at last season's data and we're trying to figure out what will be the best strategy, and we sort of had narrowed upon like a patient strategy where we keep hold of the players that we have and do not act very rashly and give them time to bring in those points. And it so far in this season it seems to have worked, because the template team that we started off with, many of those picks have survived in our team so far, and they have given us good points. I mean, we are in a really decent place right now in the whole competition. So yeah, I feel that this sort of goes back to that point of being patient and keeping the players there, and yeah, as you said, that the template seems to be prevailing so far, and we understand that in the next few weeks uh, people will start to wildcard. I mean, at least the 20 content creators that we're listening to, they have clearly indicated a preference to wildcard in game week 7 or game week 8. And so it is going to now change, and there will be what is a new template, and we will have to again see how we can you know uh, deal with this switch up. So yeah, that will be interesting too.
yeah, and I remember last time when we were recording, we had that small Ivan Tony rant about do something, and he did something. So I guess we should
Yeah.
do it for some of the players again.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, moving on to differential picks. So this week I've like have a handful of differential picks that stood out. Particularly Ismailia Sarr with 15 points. That's like a very big haul, and as Carling pointed, only 3 content creators had him in their teams, which uh, put them towards the top end of the chart that we presented to you. So he's like the standout player this week. And then Mbuemo, Ben White, Dennis, and Christensen. These were like some of the other players which I feel like if you look to the right of the spreadsheet, these are some of the players which contributed decent amount of points, 6 points, 7 points, 8 points, not bad. I mean, obviously contributing to the overall points and then growth in the ranks. So I think these were some of the differential picks that I found this week. I mean, go for the game week 6 or like going forward, some of them are like really obvious picks in our teams, which we are going to discuss later. But like, yeah, these are like the differential picks that I found out, which I'm going to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
And then finally, I just wanted to have like a discussion about the Wolves assets. I don't think they're really worth it. That's why I really added the point. Are they really worth it? Like because they were like Semedo is in the template team, selected by most of the content creators, and he just got 1 point. Very few players jumped on the Marsal train after the game week he had previously, and then again he got like basically the Wolves defense got like 0 and 1 point, and Jimenez got 2. So the point is, are they worth it to be in your team? Because I'm not sure about how Wolves is performing. They're extremely unreliable at the moment. I feel they don't convert their chances. they're extremely random in terms of scoring goals, and even today they lost against Spurs. So I don't know how that affects their overall mindset going into the next game week. But I mean, personally, I don't feel it's worth having their Wolves asset as of now. But
Mm-hmm.
what are your opinions on it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's Wolves. Yeah, it's Wolves were sort of a suggestion by most of these content creators based on their expected statistics, so expected goals and expected assists. So, which means that Wolves were expected to be performing much better than they have actually done in actual games. So it's that I think it comes from the fact that in the past people have gotten players because of their underlying statistics, because their xg or xa might be really good, but those players haven't done or gotten too many FPL points, and then you get these players uh, in your team, and then the next game week or two they will have a massive haul. So this has happened very commonly in the past, and I'm sure you'll find uh, many anecdotes either way. So you could find an anecdote where this thing that I just said happens, or the other way around, where you get in players where you get them off based on their xg xa, and then they still end up missing chances and not getting too many FPL points. I mean, we have so many. I mean, so for example, Rafinha seems to be such a player who has these amazing statistics or amazing sort of underlying statistics, but he always, you know, ends up having getting, yeah, getting very few points. I mean, he does get um a return here and there, but you've never seen him going crazy, even though it seems as if he's going to do that every week. Then I feel that similarly, Diogo Jota, who luckily for us, in the past couple of weeks has managed to miss a few of these really big chances. Uh, so these things happen, and I feel that it could go either way. For me, it's just that um, I so for example, I bought Semedo last week because I felt that yes, the underlying statistics according to all the different content creators are great, but also because their fixtures were favorable, and I felt that given these sort of two aspects, I mean, it's sort of rare that you always get a combination of some sort of form and fixtures, and so I felt that the Wolves player might be a mix of that. So anyway, they're in, like, Semedo is in my team right now. Let's see what he does. We'll play the patient game with him, and if he doesn't do much, then we always are going to have the wild card soon, where he might go away.
That's what I was going to say. Anyways, you have game week 7 coming up, so
Yeah.
he probably has a couple of game weeks in your team. So
Yeah, exactly.
what he does for you.
Exactly. So yeah, so it's okay. Let's see. We'll give them a benefit of doubt for now. At least I will. All right. So then another interesting takeaway that we saw was that four content creators ended up wild carding in game week 5. And so it was Joshua from the Always Cheating podcast, who's already doing really well, but he still decided to wildcard just to get ahead of the curve and stay ahead of the curve, I should say. And then both the members of the FPL family, Lee and Sam, both of them wildcarded, and Nick from Who Got the Assist podcast. So these were the four people who wildcarded. So I was just interested to take a look as to who they had in their teams. And so what I did was I created, as usual, a template team from these four content creators, and then just to take a look at what are the players that people are picking already, just to get some idea or some insight into what would be good, how do you call it, good wildcard picks, because now in the next couple of game weeks a lot of people will wildcard, so we should know what the pool of players is. So for me, from what I saw, Sanchez was in all the wildcard teams, so nobody strayed away from Sanchez. But they had Ben White, who you pointed out as a differential. Livramento, who's a cheap defender doing really well. Semedo seems to
Yeah.
be there. People trust Wolves a lot. Shaw, who remains, but I feel he people can just transfer him to one of the Chelsea defenders eventually, and that's the transfers that they have. I'm sure they've planned.
Yeah.
Then Demari Gray, who's in hot form and is also cheap, so allows you to have cash for other positions. Jota, Rafinha, and Salah, who are standard, who are template, and they are. I'm guessing they're going to be in many wildcard teams in the next game weeks too. And you have Lukaku and Ronaldo. No, I mean this is a strike force that everyone would love to have in their teams, but I'm sure it'll be tough to have both of them at the same time without compromising in other positions. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how people navigate. And we had uh, a bit of a discussion last week about the premiums and how many to have them, and so it'll be interesting to see how many players remain in the wildcard picks. And also, I would like to point out that Trent, Antonio, and one of the Chelsea defenders is also featuring heavily in these wildcard teams. So obviously, people are preparing for the big fixture swings in game week 7 and 8, which we'll
Yeah.
talk about more next week, I guess. So yeah,
Exactly.
so these are the wildcard teams, and I just thought that it would be interesting to already know what they look like, and you know get get a head start on
Mm.
other players in terms of what these pool of players could be. Yeah. All right. So yeah, so that was the game week 5 and the analysis of the content creators. So why don't we move to the creator of the week and discuss a bit more about him? So yeah, so our creator of the week this week, as we mentioned, is Abdul Rahman, or on Twitter he's known as FPL Salah. His Twitter handle is at FPL_Salah, and he is again. I say this every week, but it applies to every manager, and I would like
Mm.
to keep saying it all the time. Is a really elite manager. He writes regularly for the Fantasy Football Hub. He appears on many podcasts very generously as a guest, and he always is open uh, and always gives a clear understanding of his thought process, and helps you make those decisions very good. So his current rank is 92,310. I think he's on the same points as me. So that's why we are in sort of the similar rank. So it's great that I'm anywhere close to these guys. So it's nice to see that FPL Salah is also doing well. He's this is his 15th season, so he's finished 14 seasons, and his best rank was 604 in 2009-10, way back when. I'm guessing Frank Lampard did the business for him in that season. But the main thing is that in the 14 seasons, he's been in the top 1004 times, and he has reached the top 50K in 8 other occasions. So in
Wow, that's an
12, yeah,
amazing achievement.
yeah, 12 out of the 14 seasons, he's been in the top 50K. I mean, so speaks volumes of the type of manager he is, and he's also very he has classically been always relying on stats. So he openly talks about relying on expected goals, expected assists, even before they became like a very mainstream thing, which it is nowadays. He has been always looking at it, and he also looks at bookies odds while making his decisions, to just because bookmakers have models or a statistical understanding of which players are going to do well, and
Yeah.
their odds are based on those models, and that's why you can, by looking at the odds, you can figure out which players are going to do well. And so he has historically also relied on that. And yeah, he also relies on the eye test. I think he said something like 60/40 eye test and stats or something like this, but I may be wrong and it may have changed. But anyway, he does a mix of things and is a well-rounded manager. So yeah, so that's FPL Salah. And so Donatello, why don't you explain what his picks were?
Sure. So I am a member of Fantasy Football Hub, and Abdul Rahman released 3 articles over the last 3 days where he presented his top five player picks for each position except for goalkeeper. So top five defenders, midfielders, and strikers. Maybe the strikers. Yeah. So let's start with the defenders. So all these names that you're seeing on the screen, they are ranked as per FPL Salah's preferences, or like his overall, he has ranked them in the order. So starting with defenders, it's Keane, Pereira, Shaw, and Duffy. So all these is, as Carling suggested, that this is the uh, the the statistical inferences that FPL Salah has made. So he feels that Trent is the best defender for this game week. He feels that he might keep a clean sheet. Michael Keane, Pereira, and Duffy. I think these are the 3 new names we've seen, and the reasoning behind them is they might score goals. Like they have a chance of providing attacking returns. So that's the logic behind the defenders. Midfielders, Salah, Fernandez, Rafinha, Sarr, and Benrahma. So again, um, based on who FPL Salah feels might provide the highest attacking returns this game week, he has ranked them. And again, in strikers, it's Ronaldo, Vardy, Antonio, Bamford, and Alan Saint-Maximin. It's again in the ranked according to what FPL Salah feels would be the highest outputs from these strikers. So these are the 15 picks that I've picked. Like I have gotten from his articles on the Fantasy Football Hub, and I guess you've posted a tweet where he has provided his opinion about the captaincy for this game week. So you want to?
Yeah. Yeah, so FPL Salah put up a tweet showing the predictions from the Fantasy Football Hub tool, and Fantasy Football Hub tool, which sort of puts projected points for all the different players for each game week. And according to this tool, Mo Salah has the highest predicted points, something like 6.9 or something, and Ronaldo has been projected to have 6.6 points. So that's like very close, and so he feels that it's a really close call between Ronaldo and Salah for captain picks. But he says that Ronaldo is probably better odds to score. I mean, so this is based on the bookies data that Ronaldo has better odds to score anytime and has better odds to score 2 or more goals, which gives him sort of the more higher ceiling, as it's called. And so I watched another video on the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel where in the end FPL Salah recommended, or at least he's going for Ronaldo captain, and he recommended Ronaldo as the captain pick over Salah. So yeah, that's why I feel, at least for me, I agree with his analysis, and I think I will also probably go with Ronaldo captain as well.
Yep.
So moving on to our teams for game week 6, starting with yours.
Yeah, well, obvious choice and theme of the episode, Bisma, and then I've gotten in Ismaila Sarr in the team. I think based on the fixture and his form, I think it was a no-brainer for me. So yeah, that's the one change that I made. And I've as FPL Salah has vouched for it. I've made Ronaldo as captain and Salah as vice captain. So for the benefit of the listeners, reading out my team real quick. In the goal, I have Sanchez. My defense is Trent, Shaw, James. My midfield is Sarr, Rafinha, Demarai Gray, Benrahma, Salah. And my forwards are Antonio and Cristiano Ronaldo. Unfortunately, I have to bench Ivan Toney this time, but hoping that he doesn't provide any returns against Liverpool. And then Sufal and White are my second and third substitution. So that's my team for game week 6. I think it looks good
Yeah.
overall. Some really great budget midfielders who might provide good returns. So I'm excited for game week 6.
Yeah, I mean, I would say your team has like all like I would not say 15, but 14 of your 15 players are really good, I would say. And in
Yeah.
hot form and having good fixtures, like Gray against Norwich is one that I like. And James against Man City is also interesting, and if not, you have your bench that is also very favorable. So I like Sufal can come instead of James if he doesn't start.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, it's all good. I mean, your team, I feel that you might be able to navigate the next few game weeks without the use of a wild card. I have a feeling that you might be able to do that. So
I,
it'll
I
be
have
really
a
interesting.
feeling to already have a Chelsea defender. So the only thing I have to do is probably if I need Lukaku that bad, I just figure out a way around a few players and get him
Yeah,
in. But
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it is possible that I might not wild card. But it all
Yeah,
depends on the next two game weeks and how good or bad I do.
yeah, that's true. So yeah, it's very interesting, and yeah, I'm looking forward to how your team develops over the next game weeks. All right, so then coming to my team, lo and behold, I have also made the same change as you, and I have gotten rid of the cash cow that is Grealish.
Oh
Because
man,
yeah, it's
finally.
like, yeah, 8 million, getting a few returns here and there, but not really a big
Yeah,
haul.
and I mean, I don't know if he featured midweek in the Carabao Cup match, but it's Pep Rule again,
Yeah,
so you don't have to take that risk.
exactly. And it's that, and it's also, yeah, to release the cash and allow me to have the flexibility over the next game weeks where I would like to bring in the expensive Chelsea defenders, so that this move certainly helps me. And anyway, I was complaining about about Grealish and his price in the last episode. So yeah, I've just done the obvious thing of, you know, um, correcting the biggest flaw in my team.
Yeah,
According to me. So yeah, so I have sold Grealish for Sar, and then I'll read out the rest of my team. I have Sanchez in goal, Trent, Semedo, go Wolves, Sufal, and Shaw as my defenders. And then I have Salah, Benrama, Rafinha, and Sar. I feel a solid midfield, and Ronaldo, who's my captain, and Antonio up front. And then I have on my bench Ivan Tony, Weltman, and Brownhill. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this team. I For me, I have not yet seen way in which I can avoid a wild card in the next couple of weeks. I mean, obviously we'll see how it goes, but because to get in the Chelsea players and to move things around, I might need to do that. So, but anyway, we'll see about that next week, and we'll know if we need to wild card. So yeah, so that's my team.
yeah, it looks good. Again, pretty much we have a couple of differences here and there, but yeah, it's a good team. And
Yeah,
Supal and Semedo, I think not Semedo because I think the fixture might be kind of easier than what
yeah,
Supal has, but that player is I think very unpredictable. So
yeah.
I guess you might get some good returns as well.
Yeah, you'll see my prayer and my wish in the next few minutes where I talk about what the score line will be, so that
You should see
Semedo.
my score line for that match.
Let's take a look at let's take a look at that then. Yeah, so coming to the game week 6 fixtures and our predictions of the scores, we start off with Chelsea Man City, and both of us feel it's going to be a 1-all draw. Well, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's the plausible result. I feel two big teams, two big good defenses going at each other. I don't think like one team is going to dominate the other.
Yeah,
Maybe Chelsea might nick it off 1-0 because they've done it in the past, but
yeah,
I feel this is going to be like a very like a cagey affair. So
yeah. I feel
uh,
City are finally going to score against Chelsea. Pep, I mean Pep Guardiola will be like absolutely dying or
well, the thing about
inside.
Pep is he overthinks and ruins matches like he did the Champions League finals. So you never know what he's going to do.
Yeah, he'll play like 2-5-3 or something like this, and then probably get a goal that way. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Right. So then, moving on to the next match, United versus Aston Villa. You have Ronaldo captain, and you say it's going to be a 1-1 draw. You just want the
Oh,
6 points, is it?
I think that's a typo. I don't know why I did 1-1. I meant to do 4-1. I don't think United is
Ah,
going to draw against Villa, so I think it's.
okay.
I went for a 4-1 scoreline. So yeah, I don't. It's a typo.
Yeah, yeah. Then let me just change that.
Wouldn't have Captain Ronaldo if that was the case.
Yeah. So yeah, I've just made a change on the slide, adding changing your 1 to a
Just
4.
showing you the
Yeah,
correctness
yeah,
of
yeah.
both.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this makes more logical sense. I thought you were just trying to troll me with the score line, and I was like, wait, Ronaldo is a captain. How
No,
is that?
no.
How is this going to help you? So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, no.
So right, so I'm going for a 3-1 win. More modest, but
Mm.
it's fine. It'll be a victory. Everton Norwich, you're both going for a 2-1 victory. Yeah, Norwich I feel will score, and Everton should win this one. Um,
Yeah, I hope they win because it's an easy fixture. I hope they don't like mess up their game again like they
yeah,
did last few weeks.
yeah,
So I think it should be 2-1 easy
yeah.
victory for Everton.
Yeah, Leeds and West Ham, you're going for this swashbuckling 3-all draw. That'll be really, really fun to watch. Though I feel Leeds are too depleted in defense, and I feel then West Ham will run out comfortable winners 3-1 for me to West Ham.
Yeah, I just want like a cracker of a match this game week. This weekend, I just want to. I feel like two very attacking teams. 3-all draw would do justice to
Yeah,
this to their starting lineups. So that's why I feel 3-all draw.
yeah. We are both going for a Leicester win over Burnley. 2-0. That's my prediction, and using 2-1. I think there's not much to discuss there. Pretty straightforward. Then Watford versus Newcastle. This is interesting. You're going for a 3-2 victory for Newcastle, whereas I'm going for a 2-0 victory for Watford. This is very interesting.
I mean, even though I'm going for a Newcastle win, those two goals, I only have Sar in my mind for those two
Yeah,
goals.
yeah,
But I watched Newcastle's game. They just, with this match, they just couldn't finish their chances. It was a very open game. Even though they're like at the bottom half of the table, I think the strikers are doing their bit. If this is like another open game we have, they definitely have better quality players than Watford is
yeah.
what I feel. So that's why I
Okay.
went for a 2-3 win.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think I read or heard on one of the podcasts talking about how Watford uh, are categorically doing really well against the lower ranked teams, and so well lower placed teams, or at least against teams that concede a lot of chances. So that's why I feel
Yeah.
that Watford might run out winners. Then Brentford Liverpool, we've both gone for a 2-0 victory for Liverpool. I think that's fair given Brentford's strong defense and Liverpool's amazing attack. I feel that this is a scoreline that's
Yeah,
reasonable.
I think the amazing part was sarcastic. I hope, right? I mean, they just cannot score more than 3 goals, even though they have so many chances. So, yeah,
No, but that's the point, that they will be there around the box, and Brentford, with their good defense, will be able to restrict them at least just to 2 goals. Southampton Wolves, you've gone for a 2-0 victory for Wolves. So finally, you are predicting that the expected goals thing comes through and would score, and I've gone the other way and saying that it's going to be a nil-nil draw. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
am kind of contradicting myself here, but I mean, I
yeah,
think
me too.
it's going to be Wolves this time because I mean, I don't have against Wolves, but it's just that their form and the way they are just not able to convert was like concerning for me. But I feel this match might be an open game for them, so that's why I went for a 2-0 win for them.
Yeah, well, both our results suit my Semedo pick. In fact, yours might give me more points, assuming he gets an assist or a cheeky goal.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
it'll be fun. And then Arsenal versus Spurs, I have gone for the uh, yeah, the
Traditional
normal
scoreline.
traditional Arsenal draw of 1-1, which is something I probably predicted every game week so far. The Arsenal will
Yeah,
draw
and
1-1.
not to jinx it, but I'm not going to say it. So I'm going to go
Yeah,
for an Arsenal win.
yeah,
To Arsenal, I feel last games the team has been doing well. Solid defense. It's an early thing to say, but I'm seeing good progress. So and Spurs have lost two in a row, 3-0 against Palace and Chelsea. So I think this is the right time for Arsenal to pounce over Spurs and get that win, and then get the season up and running.
yeah, yeah. Sounds good. And then finally, Palace versus Brighton. Both of us are going for a Brighton victory. You say 2-0. I'm saying 2-1. And yeah, I just feel that Palace might nick a goal because they're pretty good attacking wise. So yeah, but then Brighton should
Yeah,
win this one.
Brighton are in the top five, I guess. So maybe
Yeah.
they might get into top four if they win this one.
Yeah.
Really, because they play the last match. So
Uh-huh.
they'll again be the same, unless like the top four mess up, they'll be in the top four again.
Yeah, I mean there is Chelsea and City who are obviously going to drop points either
Yeah,
way. So
yeah,
so it's possible that
yeah.
Brighton take up that spot.
So all that counting this year, right? For
Say again?
Brighton. So I said like all that XG predicted for
Yeah.
Brighton last year is
Yeah.
now is they are now making it count.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And let's hope it, for the sake of all the content creators, happens the same with Wolves. Other we'll have another rant about this in the next few episodes. Uh, so anyway, yeah. So then that's our episode, I guess. And then yeah. Uh, so I hope you like this one too. If you did, please leave a like, share this episode with your friends, comment, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at FPL Sheeple, and yeah, just spread the word and let us know if you have any feedback. uh, we are always, our DMs on Twitter are open, so we are always open to feedback and always trying to implement any suggestions that you may have. So yeah, I hope all of you have a good game week, hoping all of you also get the green arrows, and then we'll see you next week when it potentially could be wildcard week for many content creators and perhaps for us, but we don't know. So yeah, it'll be really interesting, looking forward to it. So yeah, so good luck everyone, and yeah, it's goodbye from me.
Good luck, everyone.